It's over opinionated. It's over opinionated with Josh Cott.
Welcome back to Over Opinionated. It's going to be a shorter episode, guys. We're going to talk about the elections happening across the Commonwealth today. We have every house in the House of Delegates is up for re-election. The governor's mansion, the lieutenant governor, the attorney general, the three big statewide races. And super important election, guys. Always is. But before we do that, we're going to say the Lord's Prayer. We'll skip the Apostles' Creed. We'll just say the Lord's Prayer, and we'll get on with the show. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, and thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, the power, and glory, forever and ever. Amen. Well, it is election day again in the Commonwealth of Virginia. This Tuesday at 6 a.m., the polls will open and they will close at 7 p.m. and everywhere in the Commonwealth. If you are in line before 7 p.m., they have to let you vote. They have to. You have to have one form of ID. Doesn't even have to be photo anymore. It could be your social security card. So, go vote. Make sure you're in the right polling location. There's not a ton more I can say really than what I said in the previous episode where I talked about the Virginia politics. So it'd be the one after. That'd be the one after the Reformation Day that's labeled Rage and Hate. There's not been a ton of change, really, so we're going to do a quick recap. Abigail Spanberger, the former congresswoman and CIA agent, is seeking to become the first female governor of Virginia. And Winsome Earl Sears, a immigrant from Jamaica, and a Marine Corps veteran, former delegate, and current lieutenant governor of Virginia, is also seeking to become the first woman governor in the history of Virginia. It will be a history of the first female governor in the Commonwealth. So that's neat. I guess it's cool, but I'll be honest, I don't care that much. Not because I'm against women. I'm not. Because I care about the policies of these two. And we have seen Democrat policies and Republican policies. Obviously, I'm a Republican. I think that's the best way to govern. And the last 4 years before President Trump retook the White House, I believe spoke loudly. Abigail Spanberger supported Joe Biden every step of the way when he made horrible decisions that hurt this country and this Commonwealth. And so there's that. There's the fact that she wants to codify abortion and make it a state constitutional amendment. To have abortion all the way up to the moment of birth, ripping apart a baby limb for limb, denying them their universal human right to exist and to be born safe. America is a great country if you can make it out of the womb. And some states respect that more than others. Right now, Virginia has no respect for unborn babies, despite the efforts of people like Glenn Youngkin and Winsome Sears. So, they say that they want to protect democracy, while they want to go against a constitutional amendment that was passed by every locality except one in Virginia, and that was Alexandria. Every locality, every county except one passed by over 60% of the vote, was a nonpartisan redistricting committee made up of both Republicans and Democrats, and if they couldn't get along, it would go to the Supreme Court of Virginia. The Supreme Court, last time they couldn't get along, so it went to the Supreme Court of Virginia, where the Supreme Court of Virginia hired very professional map surveyors and makers to make our current maps, which are not gerrymandered. Well, Democrats in the General Assembly have passed in both chambers a proposed constitutional amendment as the election is underway. And in Virginia, you have to have an election. You have to have an election, and you have to pass the amendment twice before it can go up for a vote. I'm sorry, 2 elections have to have passed the amendment twice before it can go up for a vote and before the people of Virginia. But the election didn't start when they called for a special assembly to pass this so that Democrats could gerrymander the state and help out Democrats in Congress. Democrats in the legislature didn't pass this before the election started. The election in Virginia starts when the first ballot is cast. And I've already cast my ballot. I cast my ballot 45 days ago. And Democrats want to sneak this by. Well, that's definitely going to head to the courts. And we'll see where the courts decide if the election starts. Does the election start the first day it's cast? Or is it on election day? Or do they have to go back to the drawing board and pass it again in 26? But regardless, Democrats in the House and the Senate do not care, and that's the Virginia House and Senate, do not care about the will of the people, wherever 60% said we don't want gerrymandered maps. They blame states like Texas and Ohio and the Republicans for redistricting, for gerrymandering. And make no mistake, Republicans are very good at gerrymandering. But so are Democrats. Are you telling me that not one Republican could be elected, or at least not have a swing district in Massachusetts? Have you not looked at Illinois or Maryland and their maps? They gerrymander too. We're just better at controlling more states. That's all it is. And in principle, I'm completely against gerrymandering. That's why 5 years ago I voted for Amendment 1, proposed Constitutional Amendment 1 with everyone else, to get rid of just the legislatures drawing the maps and have a commission made up of an equal number of Republicans and Democrats, or close to an equal number of Republicans and Democrats, appointed by the legislature. I understand they're appointed by the legislature, but if they can't get along, if they can't agree, then it goes to the Supreme Court of Virginia. And I want to play you part of Nick Freitas' podcast. He's a Republican delegate in the state of Virginia, libertarian leaning. I really like a lot of what Nick has to say. And I want to play you some of what him, Christian Hines, he's big on Twitter, are saying about the redistricting campaign. And we'll just give him a listen.
So why is this potentially illegal? Why is this so different than what's going on in other states right now? Well, like I said before, if your state legislature has full authority to draw the lines, then all they need is to pass a bill in order to draw the lines. That's it. Now, maybe you like that, maybe you don't like that, but it's not illegal, right? Now, there's some people that are claiming this special session is illegal. That's not accurate. The special session itself is legal. The Speaker of the House, the head of the Senate, they can call a special session. They can call us back in order to address issues. Now, the way that they're typically supposed to do it especially when they're actually piling onto an existing special session, is we're only supposed to cover down on certain things that we've agreed to. And typically, when you're adding something so different from what currently existed, then it's supposed to require a 2/3 majority. Why do we do this? Well, because special sessions are supposed to be just that. They're supposed to be special. They're not supposed to be something that we do all the time. We're supposed to handle our business during regular order, which is the constitutional process where we have our general sessions. We're only supposed to pick up special sessions if something crazy is happening. Now, they started this special session because they wanted to trash Trump. And what they were doing is they say, well, because of Doge is going to impact federal workers. And because Virginia has so many federal workers, we might need to come back into special session in order to adjust the budget and to help those federal workers. When in reality, what they mean is we might need to come into special session to trash Donald Trump. Right? That's what they set it up. But the reason why they could get away with it is because Doge was going on. There were discussions about federal employees being cut. And because that is such an impact to the Virginia budget, they could get away with saying we really, really need to have this special session. Now, originally, they wanted to call this special session to deal with SNAP benefits because of the government shutdown, which, by the way, is a Democrat-caused government shutdown, and we've explained that on a previous episode. Instead of Democrats calling up their two senators, Mark Warner and Tim Kaine, and saying, hey, how about you guys stop threatening to filibuster, vote for the clean continuing resolution, and then you can debate about all these other things. They said no because they want the leverage. They want federal workers to be suffering right now so they can use it as leverage because they think Republicans will get blamed for it, right? Virginia House Democrats and Virginia House senators or Virginia senators thought the same thing. And so they thought, this is going to be key. Because the government shutdown is impacting SNAP benefits for our federal employees, we're going to call the special session now, and we're going to come in, and now it falls perfectly in line with why we have the special session going. The problem is Governor Glenn Youngkin declared a state of emergency and then funded the SNAP project for Virginia federal workers. So now all of a sudden, they don't have the same justification to come in. But the real reason why they wanted to come in was twofold. The first reason why is they wanted to do redistricting reform. So again, despite the fact that just 5 years ago, Virginians voted overwhelmingly to set up a bipartisan commission in order to draw our lines, Democrats are now coming in and saying, nope, we're going to totally kick that out, and now it's going to be Democrats the ones drawing the lines for Virginia. That's what we want. Not what the people wanted, but that's what Democrats want. So that's what they're attempting to do. Now, technically, could they do that? Yes, it's a little bit questionable on whether or not they should be able to add it to the resolution. Right? If you wanted an honest interpretation of what we call germaneness, or is the topic that you're bringing up relevant to the topics that you said you wanted to cover in special session, the answer to this would be no. And a speaker of the House that was being honest about this would say, yeah, this is not technically germane to what we set up. But they've decided to just bend the rules, and quite frankly, they have the power to do so. And we don't have the...
Unfortunately, it seems like whoever's in power gets to decide if it's germane or not.
Yes.
Like, I was watching the session, and they pulled themselves back for, like, shut off the cameras for a second, conferred with each other, and then came back and be like, we've decided it's germane.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break.
Hello, welcome to Overopinionated. Are you looking for a conservative Christian podcast? Then look no further than Overopinionated with Josh Scott, hosted by yours truly. We're going to take a look at in-depth topics of theological nature that have applications to your life, important things in your life. We're also going to be looking at the news through a conservative Christian lens throughout the Commonwealth of Virginia, Southwest Virginia, and the country as a whole. I started the show because I wanted to help people break down important theological topics and important political topics, not just BS on public news to keep you going round and round in circles, stuff that actually matters. This show is unapologetically conservative and unapologetically Christian. If you would like to contribute to the show, you can go to patreon.com/overopinionated679. We would also appreciate it if you followed us on our Facebook page, Overopinionated. If you would like to follow me personally, you can follow me on X at NRV_Guy79. We would also like to give a shout out to our friends at the Darrell McLean Show, hosted by Darrell McLean. Really great guy. So give him a check out. God bless you all, and remember, Jesus is Lord.
It's a dog and pony show. Like, I've actually seen speakers come forward and rule something ungermane, like not germane, against their own party. But it's far and few between.
This happened with Bill Howell.
Bill Howell
before you got elected.
It happened on this topic. We were going to redraw the lines in Virginia. Republicans were going to redraw the lines in Virginia in order to help try to pick up a Senate seat for the Republicans. And Bill Howell, the then Republican Speaker of the House, when the bill came over from the Senate to the House, Bill Howell said, "This is not germane."
And he killed it, right?
And he killed it right there. He was given he gave what he believed was an honest interpretation. He thought this was an inappropriate way to do this. And so a Republican had an opportunity, and this was before we had a commission. Before we had and if he would have said yes, they could have done it just like that. And he said, nope, I don't think this is the proper way to do business. He didn't say no because, well, this violates this independent commission we just voted on. He said no because he didn't think it was in the proper order, the way that we did these things. And to his point, it wasn't in the way that we typically did it, right? But here's the thing. Here's the deal. His intellectual honesty and consistency, which was praised by the Democrats at the time, it is now just being completely disregarded and ignored by the current Democrats. And this is another reason why when people say, "Oh, well, Texas started it," I'm looking at them going, "Oh, no, they did not. No, they did not." In many respects, this is what I like to refer to as a delayed reaction to Democrat aggression. And now the Democrats are coming back and demonstrating that, yep, they just don't care. So, anyways, they ruled everything germane, and I totally forget where I was at now. They were going through, so they brought in the special session, and then they brought forward the resolution adding the redistricting, and we had some questions for it. No, before they even got to that, there's another thing I need to point out. We have something in the General Assembly called morning hour. And what morning hour is it's an opportunity for us to make various motions, to introduce people that have visited the Capitol, or to pass commending or memorial resolutions. These are just kind of resolutions where we congratulate something for something they did well, or we memorialize someone who's recently died. And then we do floor speeches. That's what we call points of personal privilege. A point of personal privilege is an opportunity for a legislator to be able to speak on anything they would like to speak about. Here's what typically happens. Democrats get up, they do some introductions, Republicans do some introductions, and it basically happens in order that you push your button. So you push your button to speak, the speaker sees it, and then, the delegate from so-and-so, he rise up, Mr. Speaker, I rise for the purpose of an introduction. I rise for the purpose of a motion. I rise for the purpose of a request. I rise for the purpose of a point of personal privilege, whatever it is. He grants you the floor, and then you speak. And it usually goes back and forth. Democrats have introductions. We have them. They have points of personal privilege. We have them. This time, let me get this clear. On a random Monday, in a special session where we almost never have any guests, they filled up the entire morning hour with just introductions. And all Democrat introductions. And I know that because I pushed my button. And they went through introduction after introduction. They introduced Planned Parenthood. They introduced all kinds of left-wing organizations.
Democratic committees.
Democrat committees. So instead of us getting to say anything about the actual reasons why we were there during morning hour, Democrats crammed up the entire time is because the speaker gets to decide who gets called on. 0 Republicans were called on. It was all Democrats, and it was all a dog and pony show. Then when they moved into presenting the resolution, and we had questions on the resolution, the speaker started ruling them out of order. Now, again, the speaker claims that you're not addressing the resolution, you're trying to talk to the underlying legislation. But no, a lot of our concerns were having to do with whether or not this resolution actually made sense. And so they just ruled him out of order. And then finally we had someone that got to speak to the resolution who basically brought up that he just thought this was unprecedented in Virginia history. And that was it. That was all we got. Now we got to come back on Wednesday. And Wednesday is when they're actually going to present the language. And then that's where we have an opportunity. And this part is important because there's a lot of people questioning whether or not we should even show up to this. And I tend to be of the opinion that this is kind of a dog and pony show. And, I don't really want to be a part of it. The one thing that is important, though, is we need to be able to ask questions about what they're actually going to do. We need to be able to ask questions about the language of this resolution. Because there's a couple areas where this is truly problematic.
Well, there's one thing that I keep seeing from left-wing media sources that claim they have sources within the Democratic Party, is that, oh, no, this isn't going to get rid of the bipartisan commission. This is just going to trigger that bipartisan commission to redraw the lines. And so they have these, it's basically, no, that amendment stays, but we're going to trigger them to go ahead and do it, at the 5-year mark instead of at the 10-year mark.
Which would make no sense. Why would you do that unless you thought you could gain from it? In fact, now might be a good time to talk about I will go into what I think is illegal about this process and what they're doing. But now might be a good time for us to actually pull up the congressional map and show you what Democrats are really going to try to do in Virginia. Right? This is what I think they're going to actually try to do. You got the maps you want to show?
Oh no, Nick caught.
We're gonna call it right there. From Delegate Freitas, but that just shows you typical Democrats, and so it's very, very, very important that you go out and you vote for Winsome Sears, you vote for John Reed, and you vote for Jason Menendez. Our side's not perfect, I understand that. But there's an old saying that Republicans say is, we may not be perfect, but we're not crazy. I understand John Reed's openly gay. We've talked about that before. I disagree with that lifestyle. But the lieutenant governor can strike down bad bills. And he's very close in the polls. And, I'm not going to make a prediction about anyone who wins, but I will ask you this: go vote for your local Republican candidate running for the House of Delegates. It's so important. We need to elect Mitchell Cornett to his first term. We need to re-elect Jason Ballard in my old district. We need to elect Chris Oberchain in a very, very tight election. The way it's been drawn, we need to re-elect these people. We need, man. If we flip the House of Delegates, I'd be so happy. But even if we can't flip it, let's just keep it the same. Let's keep the governor's mansion, keep the veto power, and let's mention Jay Jones one more time. He said he wanted former Speaker of the House Todd Gilbert to be shot in the head twice. Wanted his wife to feel the pain of her children dying. Why? Because they have political different opinions on gun control. And because Jay Jones is a piece of human crap. How can you say that and be a Christian? Well, guys, I'm not denying that he's made in the image of God. Maybe I'm using some strong language, but I don't want him to die. I want him to repent and go to heaven. But he shouldn't. You do not wish death on your political opponents. That's not something you do. That's not something you should do in America. That's not something you should do in Virginia. There used to be called something the Virginia Way. And a lot of establishment people love that. They're going to work together. They're going to be better than the rest of the country. Put politics aside. It was all a sham. It always was a sham, basically. Now, there was always probably more respect in Virginia. Virginia's no stranger to having a divided government. In all reality, we're not. There are many times where the Virginia had a very strong Republican presence in the House of Delegates and a Democrat Senate, and the Democrat is the governor. Happened a lot. The Republicans controlled the House of Delegates for 30 years, while Democrats controlled off and on the state Senate and the governor's race. We know what what who everyone stands for. We know what everyone stands for. We know the policies. We know the positions. I just want to end with you guys tonight. Let's say worst case scenario. I don't want it to happen, this worst case scenario. If we lose tomorrow, if the Democrats take full control of Virginia, and we go through a stretch of darkness in this Commonwealth, where the people in power stop listening and start steering everything to suit themselves. If the Democrats pass this constitutional amendment to redraw districts whenever it benefits them, if it goes through the courts and they say, yeah, this is legal, they do it one more time, and then it goes up to the people, maybe the people vote for it, maybe they don't. But that's dangerous. They'll tighten the grip. They'll call it payback for what the Democrats are doing, for what the Republicans are doing in Texas and other states, while they screw us out of seats in Illinois and in Massachusetts. Massachusetts should have at least one Republican, a leaning district. But it's all about power. That's all it is. This is all about power. Now, that's bad enough, but it kind of does go deeper than that. We're fighting for universal human rights of unborn babies. That's not just a buzzword, a vision slapped on a campaign mailers. This is something I mean. This is something Christians mean. The human rights of unborn children to be born alive, not discarded, not dehumanized, not treated like some inconvenience, not treated like trash. Life is life, and life that is innocent deserves to be protected in this Commonwealth and in this nation. We are fighting for the rights and dignity and privacy of women in their own locker room, in their own bathroom. Because just because you put a man with a penis in a dress does not make him a woman. Oh, gender is different. Gender is technically different than sex. Shut up. All this academical bull crap where professors are coming up with this crap. And not only that, it's just, okay, there's men and there's women biologically, and a very, very small set of people that are intersex. Very, very small. Men cannot become women. Women cannot become men. And real women should be able to have their private spaces without men invading them. That's common sense. And we are fighting because we know what's right. We're not backing down. Not today, not tomorrow, not 10 years from now. In the worst case scenario, if we lose tomorrow, we will not give up on Virginia. We will not give up on freedom. We will not give up on truth. We will not give up on human rights for the unborn or protection for women. We will keep fighting for what is right, no matter how long it takes, because it is worth it. Hear me. Just because the road might go dark does not mean the light goes out. Because I'm a proud Virginian. This Commonwealth, my home, your home, is the birthplace of America. We produced Washington, the man who walked away from power when he could have taken it all. We produced Jefferson, Madison, Monroe, men who carried a flame that caused the entire world, that showed the entire world that free people can govern themselves. Were we perfect? No. None of us are. Were those men perfect? No, none of us are. Virginia has stumbled. We have sinned multiple times. We have taken a step backwards in history. We'll never forget. But God has been merciful. He has corrected us. He has humbled us. He has judged us, and sometimes He has restored us. And we have risen again and again, not because we are faultless, but because we remember what is right and we resolve to do better. So, if the worst happens tomorrow, if the Democrats win everything, if the ballots fall the wrong way, I'm not going quiet. I'm not going to despair. I'm not giving up. I'm not packing and moving to Tennessee or West Virginia. I don't think it'd be at that time yet. I think you can eventually, but that's the last case scenario. This is my home and I'm going to fight for it. Because Virginia is older than any trend, stronger than any political party, and deeper than any political moment. It's older than the Constitution. It's older than this country itself. We have survived tyrants, war, depression, riots, failures, storms, civil war. And we are still here. Still standing, still proud, still free, because we choose to be. So tomorrow, let's make the right choice. Let's stand up for life. Let's stand up for women's privacy and dignity. A man should not be standing in the way of them in their locker rooms or in their bathrooms. Let us stand for dignity and truth for families, for what is good and right and God honoring, because God still judges the nations. No matter what, I'll say this: I'm a proud Virginian, and you should be too. I've lived in the Commonwealth for 29 years. I wasn't born here. I like to joke and say I was born on the wrong side of Bluefield. Bluefield Hospital, which is 5 minutes from, well, actually, it's not even, I used to say it's 5 minutes. It borders Bluefield, Virginia. There's a town called Bluefield, half Virginia, half West Virginia. Just like Bristol, Tennessee, half Virginia. It was the closest hospital to my parents. Maybe I was born on the wrong side of Bluefield West. But I've lived all 29 years in this beautiful Commonwealth in Southwest Virginia, much of it in the New River Valley. I love this state. I love this state from the ocean to the mountains. I love being a Virginian. That means the world to me. When I read history, even men like, I know people hate Robert E. Lee now because of the Confederacy, but if you look and see why he fought for Virginia, you can disagree with his reasonings, but it's because he loved the Commonwealth of Virginia. And I love this Commonwealth. I love this Commonwealth. No matter who's my governor, no matter who's in charge, I might criticize, I might hit my head against the wall, but I'm just as proud of Virginia as I am an American, and sometimes more. Virginia helped found the United States of America, not the other way around. We are the Commonwealth of Virginia. We are Virginians. Let's make the right decision. Let's look at the past when we have ignored people that were different than us. Like Native Americans, like African Americans, like many minorities that we denied universal human rights to. And now let's look at the unborn. They're different than us. They're less developed than us. They don't look exactly like us. Should we deny their human rights, their right to life? Because they're not the same as us. The same way God judged us for the evils of Jim Crow and slavery and the harsh treatments of the Native Americans. I do believe God judged Virginia harshly. He spared us. He gave us mercy, but he judged us harshly too. I believe he will also do that for killing unborn children. And you can claim that you're afraid Trump is a threat to democracy, even though he's not. Even though he's obeyed the process. Oh, January 6th, whatever. Donald Trump never called for an insurrection. He called for them to fight like hell. Maybe some words that he shouldn't have said at a heated moment. But I've been told to fight like hell in a locker room before a football game. Many times. He wasn't saying to literally invade the Capitol building. So no, you're not saving democracy. You're not. You're not a superhero. You're not saving democracy. You know, it seems like every time Republicans win, it's because democracy is dead to Democrats. So if you vote for the wrong person, then democracy's dead. That's just how Democrats feel. If you vote for the right person, then democracy's not dead. So if you vote for the right person in their eyes, the Democrats, then democracy's not dead. If you vote for the wrong person, the Republicans, democracy's dead. And there'll never be an election again, except for every year in Virginia we have an election. But they'll take away our right to vote, and they don't. It's still here. This is not Nazi Germany. This is not the Soviet Union. This is the United States of America. We have elections. They're free and fair. I'm not saying you can't criticize anomalies or you can't criticize the laws. You can. But, this whole Republicans are taking away democracy as Democrats try to rush in at the very last minute a constitutional amendment to make Virginia's maps less fair. Talk about ironic. Talk about ironic. So I ask for you this today. To simply vote and pray. And may God bless you. May God bless the Commonwealth of Virginia. We'll end on the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, and thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not in temptation, and deliver us from the evil one. Thine is the kingdom, the power, and glory, forever and ever. Amen. God bless you. God bless Virginia. Sic Sumter Tyrannis.